Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson from ZeldaDungeon.net, and you are watching my video walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass for the Nintendo DS. In this video we're going to be covering the fourth dungeon of the game, which is the Ghost Ship. Now this dungeon is a little bit odd in that you're required to do this odd little ship portion of the game. It's kind of like a little mini-game quest thing. And you need to do it to even enter the dungeon at all. Now normally I try to keep my dungeon videos separate from the rest of the overworld gameplay. However, because this is such an integral part of the Ghost Ship storyline and stuff like that, and it's all part of the same thing, you can't really separate them so well. So anyways, I'm including this with this video. Normally I'd have it in the previous video, but also there was so many collection goodies available after the Temple of Courage that I had a whole video dedicated just to that. So it's kind of a separate deal. So once you have completed the Temple of Courage, you immediately have access to entering the Ghost Ship. And all you have to do for that is you just set sail north of Melita Island and just go straight north into the northwest quadrant. And as soon as you get into the fog, then the ship will actually break down. So Linebeck will go down to work on the engine and keep it running while you can go up on deck and steer through the fog using this help of the spirits. So this part's pretty easy. Just hold the stylus on the screen to turn the ship left and right, and the goal is to just follow the spirits. They will flash they'll all flash when you're getting warmer, and they'll stop blinking when you're getting colder. But when you want to keep doing it until they're sparkling, and that means you're just perfectly aiming directly at the ghost ship. Now you do want to dodge the explosive barrels as well as the rocks. Now the rocks you can see on your screen on your map, but you can't see the explosive barrels until you start getting close in the fog. So just beware of that. I generally just only pay attention to the bottom screen. Now in my experience, the ghost ship typically is just in the top left corner of the map. That isn't always the case. It just typically starts there, but it is moving, so you can totally miss it and stuff like that. You can go right past it. So in general, though, I just follow the spirits' directions, and it's usually pretty accurate, and it works out just fine. Alright, so once you gain control of our hero, you want to enter the door on the left and continue working your way left to get into this little locked room where you are sealed in with a new enemy called Pose. Now these guys are invincible when they are invisible, but otherwise they can be killed with just about anything. So I don't know if you could kill them with jars, but just about anything else, I guess. So you can smack them with your sword if you're close enough. Otherwise you can use ranged weapons. The bow's great on them. But also the boomerang is great as well, which is interesting. Most enemies are impervious to that or just stuns them or something, but this one actually kills them. So if you don't want to waste arrows, then you can just use the bow, and that's great. But the jars in the corner do have arrows, so you can use a lot of arrows in this dungeon, especially if you got the quiver upgrades. Once you defeated them all, you want to go ahead and go to the left, where you'll find the first of the Cubist sisters. Well, that was pleasant. Go to the north this time, then take that path right, and you'll see another new enemy called a Skulltula, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Next, you want to use the boomerang to hit the crystal orb to the north, and this will lower the spikes. Continue on to the right, and there's another crystal orb as well. Now, along the way, you do want to kill all these enemies, including the Pose, as well as the Skulltulas. Now, you'll see them as a shadow on the ground, and so you can just avoid them or stand outside of them. They don't move around or anything, they're just in static locations, so if you just keep waiting until you see the shadows and then kill them right afterwards, you're going to want to kill all the enemies along this path. But you can also just jump over these pits too. You don't have to actually walk all the way around each one of them. But now you have to go south because there's some spikes in the way. But keep killing the enemies along your path, and there's also some rats here as well. To the far right, there is some more spikes. These ones will steadily raise and lower over and over again, so just wait for a gap in between them and then go in the middle. Just be warned that there is a Skulltula right in the middle as well, so you want to stand off to one side so that you don't get hit when it falls down. Once you finally get to the very end, you want to go ahead and hit the orb here to lower the spikes. So unfortunately, the Cubist sisters are found in a weird order, like their titles don't match the order you find them in. So this is the third sister. We already found the first, so we're finding them like out of order as far as their sequential order of birth, I guess, or something like that. Even though the first sister we found is the youngest, so wouldn't that make her the fourth sister? Anyway, whatever. I'm not even going to question it. Whatever. This is titled the third sister. I'm calling it the second as far as the title bars on the side, though. Anyways, the chest here has the triangle crystal. You want to pick it up and take it with you. There is some flames to the north, but you can put them out by placing the triangle crystal in the triangle pedestal. You want to jump across the gap, then go to the north and place it, but you got to make sure you kill all the enemies along the way because the Cubist sister will get scared if she gets too close to an enemy. Ideally, what happens is you kill all the enemies before she ever sees them. If you can kill them fast enough, she actually doesn't know. And if you jump over these gaps, then she'll stop following you. You have to go talk to her again to get her to follow you. Also, if you walk too far away from her, you just walk away too fast, then she will stop following you as well. So you do want to wait for a good time when you can make a run for it, like for these flames, for example. You want to go at just the right time so that you're not walking too fast. It's kind of like taking the boss key to the boss chamber, except that it's a little more annoying. Alright, so with both of them saved, you want to continue along the north path, work your way clockwise through the dungeon until you can get to these stairs, which are now unlocked now that the spikes are lowered. Alright, so as soon as you enter this floor, you'll encounter a new enemy called a Reapling. Now, we don't actually see them just yet, but we want to avoid it if we can. It works very similar to a Phantom, like in the Temple of the Ocean King, so you don't want to fight them. You can't kill them or anything, so just want to avoid them if possible. You want to continue working your way through the room, working your way to the top left corner. Kill all the enemies along the path if you can, because we're going to have to lead the Cubist sister through here, and if these enemies are in the way, it will scare her and stuff, so you're going to have to kill them at some point, probably. You can actually run past them, but it's kind of awkward. Alright, so here we have the second Cubist sisters. This is the second daughter, so I guess that means she's the second oldest. I know their titles confuse me, but we just found the third, and now we're finding the second, whatever that means. Maybe we're going from the youngest to the oldest or something. Anyway, after you rescue her, there is a crystal switch here. You can smack it with your sword. This lowers the spikes just to the right. And there are two chests there. And the Cubist sister makes a comment as you approach, and she's very, very insistent that you open the left chest. But as you may have noticed, the Cubist sisters are kind of pranksters, and they're not very nice, and they tend to mislead you. So chances are this is probably a trap. So instead, open the right chest, which gives you a yellow potion, which is awesome. Yellow potions restore your health completely. And I have some more comments to make about that potion here in a moment. But anyways, if you open the chest on the left, what happens is bad things. You don't want to do that. It gives you a Rupor, which reduces it subtracts 10 rupees instead, and it also makes a second Reapling appear, which is bad. You don't want that to happen, so you can totally ignore the left chest entirely. I opened it on purpose for the sake of the walkthrough because it makes things harder, and I did that because I want to show how to do it on the harder difficulty. Continue on to the right. I do like to kill these Skulltulas with the bow, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. Here in the center, now that the spikes are lowered, you can access this chest, which has the circle crystal in it. So pick it up, take it to the south, and go up the stairs. This will allow you to put it in the pedestal, which will lower the flames, which just makes it a little bit faster to go through here. So I like using the bow because you can instantly kill these guys really fast. Bam! And then that way she doesn't react, even if they're right next to her. So she'll still follow you. And so it's really nice. Now, I don't think she reacts to rats, though. So even if they get close to her, it's not as big a deal. So, but rats are kind of hard to aim at with the bow, so you might be better off using your sword for that, but then use the bow for the Skulltulas. Off to the very far south of this room, there is a chest that has treasure in it, and I hadn't gotten it earlier because there was no reason to go to the south room yet. But now that we are passing through, I went ahead and opened that chest to get it. Anyway, continue bringing her to the far left to reunite her with her sisters. So quick comment about that potion we just found in the chest. You can only find them from Beetle's mast ship, which is pretty rare anyways, and it costs 200 rupees. So if you don't have space in your inventory because you already are carrying 2 potions, you will find 200 rupees instead, which is the value of the yellow potion, which is cool. So if you want rupees, you can do that. However, yellow potions are rare and they're hard to get, and so I think it's far more valuable to get the potion itself. So if you currently are full, like you stocked up and you bought 2 red potions, I recommend you actually drink one and then pick up the yellow potion instead. Is a much better deal in my opinion. It is not super useful right now. It's more useful later when you're towards the end of the game and you have a lot more health. So Reaplings can be stabbed in the back to stun them, and that'll come in play here in a little bit. But going to 1 floor down, finally, we can attack these enemies, and I accidentally smacked one of the signs which had a clue about what to do next, and I realized that right after I defeated that Poe. So I ran back up the stairs and went back down again to make the sign reappear. Oops. That actually might be kind of an interesting thing that somebody could get stuck on because they don't know what to do next because the signs are gone. So the enemies came back, so I'm going to defeat them again. So these signs here are telling you to go ahead and hit a crystal switch up ahead. However, the next sign also is making comments about giggling and stuff like that in the steel drums, but the phrasing is totally like makes it obvious that these signs are written by the Cubist sisters, and so far as you know, they've been pretty misleading. So whatever the signs tell you to do, you don't want to do it, or you want to do the exact opposite. So in this case, it's telling you to hit the crystal switch, so you obviously don't want to do that. Anyways, continuing on to the right, you'll find a bunch of Skulltulas. If you can stand in the middle, you can spin attack them. Otherwise, you can actually use the boomerang, would be a good choice, because it'll hit through all of them. You can just draw a path through all of them, and it'll defeat all of them at once. So don't hit the crystal switch. Now, I actually am going to, because for the sake of the walkthrough, I'm trying to make it harder on purpose. To get past this Reapling, you can't just shoot it in the back with an arrow. Otherwise, you can lure it over to the safe zone to just get away from bad things. I'm actually going to smack it in the back here. Now, there is a stone tablet here, and this actually is the order that you need to pull the levers to the far south. Now, I do see people comment on the internet, and they're all confused because they just assume, like the last sign was bad, as they assume this is bad too, but actually this one is correct, and this is what you need to pull the levers in that order. Now, the way they list it is a little bit odd, though, so I went ahead and smacked that Reapling in the back with an arrow. Okay, so this number is correct, and what it is it's saying which number the levers are. Now, the position of the numbers is the position of the switches. So, the 4th one is the first one you pull, and the far left one is the second one you pull, the far right one is the 3rd one you pull, etc., etc. So that is what the numbers signify. If you were thinking it was the number of the lever, like do the second one first, then do the 4th one first, that is incorrect. If that numbering system would be easier for you to understand, then the lever number order from left to right instead would be 4, 1, 5, 2, 3, if that makes sense. So the position of the numbers is actually the position of the levers, is part of what they're saying there. The number is what order you do them in, is how they have it set up. So the number is actually correct. Occasionally I see people talking on the internet, they're like, oh, the order's wrong, like Cubist sisters, rah! And so that's what's actually going on. So it does actually work. The tablet is correct. All the signs are wrong. So go to the center and lift up the barrels, and you'll find a floor switch which lowers the flames on the far left. Now, I do like to go snag the Reapling and lead it over to a safe zone, because then it'll just turn its back to me, and then I can smack it in the back with an arrow to stun it. And then I can just run past. So that's a much faster way of dealing with it. Over here to the left, we have a chest containing 200 rupees, but what it actually contains is a purple potion. And just like what I was explaining with the yellow potion earlier on, if you are currently full on potions, it will give you rupees. But if you are missing a potion, it will give you the potion instead. Now, this one is actually a purple potion, which is only worth 80 rupees. So this is actually a better deal in this particular case to be full on potions and just get the rupees instead, because you can buy 2.5 potions for the same price as yeah, you know what I mean? It's just preferable. The rupees are worth more. So in this case, I actually do recommend that you leave it. But what purple potions do is they restore 8 health, and they bring you back to life when you die. So they're like a fairy in this game. You know, fairies in other games is like what the purple potion is in this game. So they're very useful. It's really awesome. It's a very powerful thing. So I'm going to actually go, and I'm trying to stay close enough to the Cubist sister that she doesn't run away from me. But this is the final one, the eldest. So I guess she's the first Cubist sister or something like that. Anyway, I'm luring the Reapling back over to the safe zone, shoot it in the back with an arrow again to stun it, and then I'm working my way through here. Now, I've already killed all the enemies, so I'm just traveling. I just accidentally ran too far away from her there a little bit ago. But I'm just going to continue on and work my way all the way back to the beginning. So I haven't talked about this yet, but when the Cubist sisters come in contact with one of these Skulltulas, they will scream, and this makes a loud noise that Reaplings will come and investigate. So you have two options. You can defeat the enemy real quick, and then talk to the Cubist sister to get her to follow you, and then quickly run to get back to a safe zone before the Reaplings see you. Otherwise, what you can do is you can actually just abandon her and run to a safe zone just right away, and then come back and get her. The Reaplings actually don't do anything to the Cubist sisters. They just leave them alone and ignore them. They're just only after you. So if you just get scared and you leave her there, it's not a problem, and she's not gonna like go leave and start the whole room all over again or anything like that. She just sits there. So it is fine. You can just leave her there. Alright, so here we have the boss of the ghost ship, the diabolical Cubist sisters. And I'm sure you didn't see that coming at all. They weren't suspicious whatsoever, right? Now, how this works is they're going to throw orbs at you while the other ones shoot lasers, and the one that shoots the orb is always the one that's closest. So in this case, that's the red one, which is on the far left. So what you want to do is you want to smack the orb with your sword, and this is Zelda Tennis, which has been a staple of the series ever since Link to the Past. So it's been in most of the games in the Zelda series, honestly, and typically it's one of the last bosses, if not something somewhere around the middle, and this game follows that formula as well. So it's not the last boss, but in this case it is one of the middle ones. So once again, the red one already was defeated because it got smacked a couple times, so now it's the next closest one. In this case, that's green. They'll shoot it back and forth, and you don't know where it's going to end up, so you do want to be ready to run side to side, but you can smack it. You don't need to smack it head on. You can totally stab it from the side or whatever, and it's fine. But it'll smack one of the girls if you successfully hit it. Now, if you manage to miss it, though, it will hit the back wall and it will explode. Now, notice that they just rearranged there, and again, you want to go to the one that's the closest. In this case, that was the green one still. But just notice that it moved off to the far right. So it's whatever one is the closest to you, that's the one that's going to shoot the orb, in the first place, anyway. After that, they bounce back and forth, and you're going to smack one of the other ones. So, I just gotta say that Link is a master of tennis. He's played Dead Man's Volley like however many times, and every time he wins. He's in so many games. And yet, we don't have a Zelda tennis game, but we have a Mario one, which makes no sense. So why is it that Mario, who has nothing to do with tennis at all, gets a sports game, and then Link doesn't? Like, this seems unfair to me. So here's me secretly hoping to another Mario Tennis game in which Link will co-star, because he's in, Mario Kart now. So if they do make another Mario Tennis game, which Mario Tennis was awesome, by the way, if they make another one, then here's me hoping that we get Link in that game. I honestly think that if we had that happen, we'd probably have Zelda, maybe a couple other characters, maybe Darunia or something like that. But otherwise, we'd definitely probably have Ganondorf. Like, honestly, Ganondorf plays more tennis than Link does. He's always the one who wants to do it. So yeah, and I envision we'd have like, people playing with Ganondorf and Bowser on one team, and then like Link and Mario on the other, or something like that. I don't know. So you have the two good guys versus the two bad guys, or whatever. But also you'd have people doing the franchise team. So you'd have like the Zelda universe versus the Mario universe, or whatever. Which franchise is better? I find the idea slightly amusing of having like Ganondorf teamed up with Dry Bones in place of a Stalfos or something, but also I bet you people would just ship various characters too, so I'm thinking like Link and Daisy, because Daisy's kind of like an off character, kind of like Marin was, and for those of you who liked that, maybe this could be another opportunity for him. This could be his big chance. Once you're left with the last Cubist sister, then she's going to throw out 3 different orbs at once. She has the regular Dead Man's Volley orb, and then there's going to be these ones that have 4 energy orbs attached to them. And they will actually split once they hit the wall and break apart into energy that shoots out. You need to dodge these. But the regular orb she'll kind of knock back and forth left and right. And again, you don't need to use side slashers or spin attacks, whatever. You can totally stab it to the side as well, and that will reflect it back to her too. So this is kind of a strange development. This is the only boss in the Zelda series that actually gives you the boss key after you've defeated the boss, and you don't actually go to the boss room by, like, going to the boss room. You actually just do something else, which is kind of weird. So what you want to do is, after you step into the blue light to return to where you fought the Cubist sisters, you go down a floor, and then go over to where the boss door is, and you use the ghost key to unlock it, and this will lead you to where Tetra is at. So once that movie is finally complete, you can also check out Tetra over here in the corner. You do kind of want to watch out for her, though, because when you're fighting Jolene, you can't get snagged on her, so that is sort of a problem. But anyways, you can see her down here in the bowels of the ship from now on. You can also speak with Linebeck right now, and he has some dialogue where he's reminding you to go speak with Zaz the blacksmith, which is our next objective. And the reason for this dialogue, by the way, is in case you skipped the movie, so that you have just like a refresher on what we learned in that previous movie that Oshus was telling us all that stuff. So, our next objective is to go seek out Zaz, and we will do that in the next video. So thank you guys for watching so much, and if you like this, be sure to throw a like on this video, and follow both Zelda Dungeon and myself. Subscribe to our channels, follow us on socials, etc. There'll be links to all that stuff in the description. As always, you guys are awesome, have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.